They tossed a halfpenny into my cap, and I am running to paradise. And all I've got to do is wish somebody puts his hand into the dish to toss me a bit of salty fish. And there the king is but as the beggar. On January 26, 1907, I was lecturing in Aberdeen, and when my lecture was done, I was handed another telegram.
Play a great success.
Ha! It came from Dublin, where John Synge's Playboy of the Western World was just then being performed at the Abbey, our Irish National Theatre, for the first time. After 2 a.m, my host came to my room with a second telegram.
Audience broke up in disorder at the word shift.
My brother Morchin is worn out, scalping his big brawling lout, and I am running to paradise. A poor life, do what he can, although he keep a dog and a gun, a serving maid and a serving man. And there the king is but as the beggar. Shift. That was all. I knew no more. Until I got the Dublin papers on my way back to Ireland. On Monday evening, not one word of the play had been heard.
Some 40 young men had stood in the front row of the pits and stamped and shouted and blown trumpets from the rise to the fall of the curtain.
They wished to silence what they considered a slander upon Irish womanhood.
Irish women would never sleep under the same roof as a young man without a chaperone.
Nor admire a murderer.
Nor use a word like shift.
Poor men have grown to be rich men, and rich men grown to be poor again. And I am running to paradise. And many the darling wits grown dull that tossed a bare heel when at school. Now it's filled an old sock full. And there the king is but as the beggar. A patriotic journalism that saw in Synge's capricious imagination the enemy of all it would have young men believe, had for years prepared for this moment by that which is at once the greatest and most ignoble power of journalism, the art of repeating a name over and over with some ridiculous or evil association. That frenzy that would have silenced Synge's masterwork was, like most violent things, artificial.
The defense of virtue by those who have but little.
Which is the pomp and gallantry of journalism.
And its right to govern the world.
As I stood there watching, knowing well that I saw before me the dissolution of a school of patriotism that held sway over my youth, Synge came, that rooted man, who would be dead within 2 years, and said,
"A young doctor has just told me he can barely keep himself from leaping onto a seat and pointing out in that howling mob all those whom he is treating for venereal disease."
As I came over Windy Gap, they tossed a halfpenny into my cap, and I am running to paradise. And all I've got to do is wish somebody puts his hand into the dish to toss me a bit of salty fish. And there the king is but as the beggar. And there the king is but as the beggar. We make out of our quarrels with others rhetoric,
But of the quarrels with ourselves,
poetry.